Dear students, in the previous classes we have seen the various approaches of the organizational behavior, and today I'll be taking up a new topic, that is psychological contract. So just before beginning what psychological contract is, I expect you to see the picture. So there are two minds, and just minds are getting connected. You see, the brains of this man and this man is getting connected. I hope now you are getting. So psychological contract. Psyche means soul, the mind or the spirit, brain. This man's brain is connected with that man and making a contract. That is psychological contract. Just a pictorial understanding what I gave you in the beginning itself, so that you should know that before we deal with anything else, what psychological contract is. Psychological contract is a contract between two people, and not a written contract as such, rather without speaking, without telling anything. So he is perceived like this, and he is perceiving something. So that is, contract is always a written document between two persons or agreement between the two people, we know. So we'll deal with this topic some aspects. The psychological contract refers to the unwritten, intangible agreement between an employee and the employer that describes the informal commitments, expectations, and understandings that make up their relationship. The moment you become an employee, or you are the employer of somebody, automatically you make some written documents, we know, and appointment letter is given. In that rules regulations, your things are written. But even though written, there are some other things informal which cannot be seen, intangible, unwritten things are there. Some are not written, but it is understood that moment you are entering there, you are a employee, and what is your duties. So it is already expected from the employer. It doesn't say that the moment you are a employee you have to behave in a particular way. So and you have to do something in a particular way. So that is automatically expected, and some understandings that are not written down. Just a example what I am giving you is, the moment you are coming to the organization as an employee, it is expected that as long as you are employee, you have to speak good about your organization. It is not written down. Neither your this man employer will tell you, but it is a common sense, and it is a duty. The moment you are speaking ill about your organization, that means it is a time for you to quit the organization. That is a way. Second, another example I will be giving you. The moment you are joining this organization, it is understood that employee always expecting that job security. I have joined and I should get a good what you call, if it is everything is fine, then I should not be removed from the job. That is expected, and that is automatically there. So these are all psychological contract. Without speaking, understandings in two minds are going on among between the employee and the employer. The psychological contract shouldn't be confused with a written employment contract. They are two very separate things. An employment contract sets out the legally binding agreement between the two parties. But that contract on its own provides a very narrow and reductive view of the employee employer relationship as a whole. So, what it says is, written contract and psychological contract are two separate things. They are not the same. In the written contract, it is all legal aspects are written down. Here, nothing legal, but it is sensed and understood. And satisfaction comes when the psychological contracts are fulfilled. The moment psychological contracts are not fulfilled, then a misunderstanding takes place. Then a kind of disgustedness, all those things, Cold War takes place. That relationship is also composed of many other expectations that whilst not fully formalized are just as important. While an employment contract is a legal agreement printed on paper, the psychological contract is built from the everyday actions, statements, and promises of one side of the relationship and how they are received by the other. So this is something more important. See, agreement, contract, all legally bound is printed on paper, but the psychological contract is everyday actions. Your actions tells to the employer how you are. Employer's actions tells to the employee how he is. See, the moment employer is not happy with his employee, then he will treat him very badly. So he will not see face, he will not speak employer. That means it is understood that he has a problem. Sometimes employee is doing his own, doesn't listen, no commitment and all. Then it is understood that he has something wrong. So everyday actions are seen. Everyday statements, what you are speaking, what employer is speaking, what employee is speaking regarding the persons, when they are committed to each other or when they are in a good terms, they speak well. Otherwise, they speak ill, and promises of one side of the relationship and how they are received by the other. I hope you understand. It is a contract that goes in the minds itself. They don't express usually. Nothing is written down in the paper. An employment contract deals with the transactional exchange of a labor for reward. So the psychological contract describes the more informal perception of what each side commits to the relationship and what they might receive in return. So this is just going in the mind, nothing is expressed, but what I am giving something, contributing, it should get a reward. An employee is contributing something, so it should get a reward. Employee, an employer feels that I am offering something, money, usually this salary is offered, and he is expecting that he should be good, he should give in return. So both the parties here expects the returns for the sacrifice that they are rendering or for the commitment that they are doing. This is a psychological contract. So, what are the aspects of psychological contract? Which are things so usually involved in psychological? There are so many things, or many expectations will be there. A few basic things what are included is, first one is job security. The moment employee joins, he feels that I should continue this job for a longer time. Okay, later on his mind may change or better offers he may get it, but till then he expects that I should not be removed. And usual tendency of any employee when he is joining to the organization, they don't want to be removed by the organization, and they themselves are ready to quit. See, this is the psychological contract. Then the second one is opportunities for promotion. The moment a person enters, in the beginning he will not speak anything about the promotions, you are aware. But later, as the days goes, they speak about the promotions. In the beginning, just if you give a job, that's sufficient. They say, I'll be very grateful to you if you give me an opportunity to work in the organization. The moment you enter into the organization, the desire for promotion comes. How? It is a psychological contract. So you don't want to remain forever in the same position or a same status. The moment you are spending some time, you expect, and it's a psychological contract made between employer and employee, that for some time I'll be like this, but in the later stages I should be climbing higher and higher. Then opportunities to learn and improve. See, nobody wants to stay at a same status, everybody wants to grow. And an employee, whoever comes in or enters, he thinks that I may be getting my sufficient opportunities for my growth. So I may be having a sufficient opportunities for improvements, whether it is maybe skill, whether it may be knowledge, or in any way improvement. The expectation is there, and what you call that, they never ask usually. Now nothing is written down. You have a what you call if there is a written down, documents are not there. You will be improving in this area. You are given a what you call opportunities in this areas. No, nothing is written down, but it is understood that every employee expects something to learn and grow. Employer's reputation in society. See, the moment you are an employee of an organization, you can't spoil the name of the employer. It is understood. Employer need not say that you have to speak well about me everywhere. It is the psychological contract that employee has to speak well about the employer. The moment he is not speaking well, then that psychological contract is broken down. It is psychological contract that employee has to speak always good about the employer, whatever may be the employer. So the moment he speaks ill about the employer, then there is a problem. The perception that the employee's work contributes positively to the society. So here this is a contract between the employer. What he says is, my employee is working, and because of the employee is working, I am existing, I am having a very help, and his what you call his contribution is helping to the society. That is also what you call psychological contract. Then support a supportive manager. So automatically an employee when enters, he thinks that I'll be getting a manager who is always supporting to me. The moment you feel that a supportive manager is not there, then there is all problems begin. A perception of fairness in the company's internal processes, a fair dealing. If the manager is appreciating one very high and another person is just neglecting, then a kind of dissatisfaction comes. A psychological contract is I am also employee, another person is also employee. Every employee expects that manager should look after them equally. That is the psychological contract. It doesn't say that employee when he is joining, he doesn't say I must be treated equally among all here. Nobody says that, but everybody expects that. So the perceived fairness of play, I hope you understand. An expectation to go above and beyond. Sometimes they expect the opportunities, knowing other than your job. Okay, you have a job, you are doing wonderfully. Other than that, something more to know about your organization they are expecting. Go a little beyond, give some suggestions, such things. Okay, it doesn't make any sense that or employer doesn't mean that the moment you are employee you should not make any suggestions, comments. The employee feels that okay, the moment I am working here, something that comes to my field and something could be done, I go and inform to the manager. That actually in the contract nothing is there. See, now you are doing a particular job and in this job some changes could be brought, you have come to the notice. So it's the time to go and give your suggestion. But in your contract that it was not made at all. The perceived fairness of perks and benefits packages. This is more important. See, it is a common understanding that when you do a little more job, you should give some bonus, perks, or benefits packages. It is understood. Otherwise, the moment you are not given, you stop working more. You do the minimum. Did they say that you are okay? Some places they say bonus will be given, but some places they never say. But every employee expects when he is giving more service or rendering more efforts, automatically his expectation is to get some benefits. So now here few examples of psychological contract. It is a very simple topic. I hope you have already understood. And what are the aspects of the psychological? This one also, where all psychological contracts taken place regarding promotion, job security, then managers' behavior. All those things are aspects of a psychological contract. Now a few examples we'll see. Employers will have a formal contract that clarifies employee expectations like hours worked, necessary certifications, production experimentation expectations, and compensation benefits. But as time passes, the employer and employee will develop a set of unwritten expectations that are not explicit in the contract. So this is what a psychological contract is. It says so. Some are written things are there. There are many unwritten things are there. The moment you are an employee and the moment you are employer, some things are expected from each other. So here are a few examples. Employees can leave work 30 minutes early on Fridays. So sometimes what happens is this is not known at all. Saturday holiday, Sunday holiday in some of the organizations. So on the previous day of that 30 minutes early, if you go also nothing happens. So employees that produce results will be rewarded. See, the moment you work a little more, you will be rewarded. Kind of promotion will be given, or some perks will be given, bonus will be given. See, it is as I have said, everybody expects it. Therefore, he contributes more. Otherwise, he will be lethargic, no motivation to work. Then employees that exceed expectations will be promoted. This is as I have said regarding the previous point. The job workload will allow for work-life balance. See, no too much work. In the olden days, you know that heavy works. Now, if you go to Japan and all, work is minimum, but when you are working very hard, but after that you have your personal life. So work and life, your personal life has to be balanced. So otherwise, now in our Indian situation, what happened is sometimes some many of the people are overburdened. Now you take example, just the bus drivers, they begin their job at 6:30 in the morning and they close up their job at 10 o'clock in the night. So whole day they are sitting with the steering, and they will be going home only after 10:30, where everybody has slept. And the moment everybody is getting up, they are going to the job. Even the hotel workers, you see, cooks and all, early in the morning 4 o'clock they get up and go to the hotel, and they will come back in the night. So 9 o'clock, where the life they have? Only work they have. So work and life need to be balanced. So that is also there in the what you call psychological contract. Employee investment in the organization will equal employee ownership in organizational outcomes. So employee investment means the moment you are an employee, so you to own something in the organization. Employee loyalty will be rewarded by organizational loyalty. So you need to be loyal to the organization. That is called employee loyalty. So they are just examples. There are so many examples. I need not give you. If you have understood what psychological contact, that's sufficient. Here there are 5 strategies for developing and supporting psychological. What psychological contracts actually supported? Psychological contracts, like people, change over time. This is one of the supporting concept, that psychological contracts doesn't remain the same. See, as I have said, whenever person enters your organization, first he expects just a job is given, that's sufficient. But the moment a job is given, his expectations are more and more, and he is expecting something more. Thus, psychological contracts are dynamic, they are changing. They don't remain the same. Today something he is expecting, tomorrow something else. So if a change needs to be made, acknowledge the old contract and explain why the change is needed, and create a new preemptive psychological contracts. Acknowledged change can be resolved and is very different from a broken contract. What happens is, if you have psychological contract, it means your expectations, your understandings that you need to explore, you have to pour out. Then what happens is, what you call you can resolve. And the moment you are not speaking out anything, then your contract is broken, psychological contract, because psychological contract is changing every day. Therefore, what is more important is you have to speak out. Employee has to speak out with the employer, and employer has to speak out with the employee. What is the expectations, what are their understandings? Then most of the misunderstandings could be solved. So this is a way how you can develop the psychological contract. Otherwise, what happens? A problem comes, cold war will be developed. Psychological contracts can become increasingly difficult as the organizations grow. This is also possible when the organizations are growing very much, then psychological contracts are in the trouble. So complexity of the contract will intensify with numbers of employees. When the numbers of employees increase, some things will not be able to give a attention. Numbers of projects and employee diversity, employees from the different cultures are coming, then psychological contract differ, because diversity has one of the main aspect where psychological contract differ, because the people from one area expectations are different and perceptions are different. People from another area are different, whether it may be geographical, whether it may be a religion, whether it may be for different language people, caste people, their expectations and their understandings and perceptions are something different. Therefore, this is more important to know that what you call in the diversity, to understand new projects comes, number of employees increases, then it is a drawback for the psychological, all of which will lead to broader variances in employee perception. Recognize the potential for increased complexity and offer increased attention. So here you have to give increased attention, time and resources to support and balance perceptions of employees. So here more time should be given, more attention should be given, then only the psychological contract will be supported. So in the previous case we have seen that this psychological contracts changing, that's why you need to be speak out, communicate. Here attention and time need to be increased as the employees, as the organization grow, number of employees grow. We have another 3 strategies. we'll see that managers should establish and explain linkages in psychological contracts, employee perceptions, and organizational goals. Establishing the linkage will support employee perception through organizational ups, downs, and necessary change. What is expected is here that it need to be linkages, that organizational goals if are known very well by the employees, then their perception changes, and their psychological contracts also changes. The moment our organization is goal is this one, then their feelings, attitudes, everything change. Now the moment you see, if an hospital makes a high profit, then these employees who are working, they feel that they should be given a bonus like that and all. If the hospital is just making a charitable works, then these people will be satisfied with the minimum salary and they don't expect any bonus, because they are aware that our organization is serving the society more than earning the profit. You see, this is a psychological contract that it's a job of the managers to make known to the employees. It is important to view another strategy, employees as relationships, not just tools, as part of a goal achievement. Taking time to understand the employee's perception, assumptions, goals, and needs is time spent building a relationship. A good relationship has to be built up. They need to be sat, spoken. Then automatically they will understand, and their attitude itself change. The moment your manager doesn't speak or relate to the people at all, then the things are different. Thus, cultivated and clarifying psychological contracts can contribute to employee relationship development. Then, third, psychological contracts are often unwritten and based in assumption. Psychological contracts are often unwritten and based in assumption, but it should still fully support organizational core values. Because an expectation is unwritten does not permit the expectation to be unethical or contrary to organizational mission, values, and goals. What it says is, or every organization has a mission, goal, and the objectives, values, and your psychological contracts should be in line with that and should not be unethical. Too much expectations and what you call unethical ways, that should not take place in the psychological contract. These all are strategies that will improve the better psychological contracts to have between the employees and employers. Both the people have a psychology. It is not only the employees having a psychological contract. The employers also have a psychological contract. Employee also has psycho. There is a perception, employees' perception regarding the employer and the organization, and employers' perception regarding the employee and the employee is a psychological contract. Therefore, these are the strategies where you can improve upon psychological contracts. I hope you have understood what psychological contract is. So here I will close. Thank you.